And we are back. Oof. Who knows this video? 2009, I'll give you a hint. Classic. No one gave me an answer for last time. Sad. Never mind, I'll let you off. It was, of course, Callum Powell 2011. And the song was Spectac and Ninth Wonder, Lounge, the instrumental. Anyway, you listen to Parkour Coach Companion. Connecting coaches, asking questions, creating interesting conversations. That's what we're all about here. All for the culture, man, all for the culture. Very hard to connect at the moment, but we can do on the audio waves. Anyway, this is episode 22. I hope you enjoy it. With Devon. And just like that, we're back. Just like that, we're back. Hello, hello. Welcome everyone. This is Sam Kopak, and today I'm speaking with Devon.
Hi.
The rising talent, the flame, the young flame from London.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. I'm quite tired. I'm not gonna lie, because I stayed up watching a few of the Phat vlogs. So I was just catching up and just seeing kind of some of the stuff you've been doing.
Wait, which one did you watch?
So basically what happened, I watched the one where you were training at Barbican and you do that disgusting running like 360 pre with 2 death drops on either side.
Yeah.
And after that I was like, right, okay, I need to see a bit more of this. So I ended up watching for like, far too late. But yeah, some great stuff, man. So yeah, we'll start there, just because it kind of blew my mind a bit, that jump. How
360.
Yeah, like what's your kind of process with 360s and stuff? I know you guys are doing like a lot of them, yeah.
Yeah, I mean I've been doing 360s for like a super long time. Like I think I first learned in like 2015, and then I remember I was like sticking them to edges like nicely in like 2016, and that's kind of where it like started developing from. Of like, it started feeling like it wasn't that different from a normal jump. The only difference is it kind of goes with your intuition of, there's that moment that you're a bit blind, but it's about knowing that when you see the landing, your body is naturally going to respond in the right way. It's about trusting that. It's kind of the same with doing like a side flip pre or a 180 back to like a small landing where you can't like see it until like the very last second. But if you trust that, it's like if your mind sees like a rail or a wall, it's going to try and put the feet towards it every time. Instinctively.
It's kind of freaky, isn't it? How your body kind of has this like, over time you have this kind of intelligence that's not quite, I don't know, it's like, obviously it's you, but it's like some other thing that has control of what you're doing. It's really, really strange.
Yeah, like your muscle memory mind or something.
Yeah, cool. Exactly. Like I was doing some like kind of drop pre's yesterday off my like wrong foot. And in my head I've got that, because it's my wrong foot, I was kind of thinking like a little bit, I mean, I might not get the perfect stick or whatever, I might not do it too well, but like, my feet were just like, bang, 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 every time. I was like, what the hell?
That's
like,
awesome.
It's so weird. It's so cool.
Yeah. Actually, mentioning the like, jumping off your odd leg, I thought about it recently, this idea of, like, your body has just the same amount of potential to land exactly the same on both legs. Like, they are the same leg. But your mind kind of like just tells you, oh, this isn't right, this isn't okay. Like, it's like your mind is tricked, but if you trick your mind into like if I just jump off the left and imagine it's going to be like my normal running pre, and I just focus on it a bit more, it can be exactly the same. There's no like, the only thing that's stopping it from being exactly the same is your mind and how you tackle it in your head.
Yeah, man, it's so interesting. I wonder, so when you started doing these 360 pre's and turns and things, why did you start doing them? Was it because you'd seen other people do them? Because I know they're really popular at the moment. Like, I know you guys have kind of got your own kind of style, but then there's teams like Kipper and Motus, and you got like Marks and things, and it's this very interesting kind of new style. But yeah, back in the day, back in 2014, 2015.
No one would turn.
Yeah, literally.
No one would spin.
Yeah. So what inspired you to start doing that?
I'm not too sure. I think at the very first stage, I was upset that I couldn't 360. Like, I tried and it was really hard. Like, I was like veering like a meter to the side, and I was just like completely off axes, and then I realized I couldn't even spin a 360 on the spot and stay in the same place, and I had no like aerial control in that way. But then as I started to get into it, I enjoyed that. I felt like, because my body type's quite kind of compact, when I like 360, I feel like I can get on this small center of gravity where I tuck in, I tuck my legs into my chest, and I don't know, that like feeling of like 360ing just like stuck with me, being very, very nice. And I liked that. For me personally, like, I was never the one that would be hitting like the biggest running pre or the biggest like Kong or plyometric, like not the big standard move you'd probably see like Abdullah or Orlando do. So then I kind of moved towards sketchy things and 360s and like rail skateboard, like sideways pre's and weird things that other people wouldn't want to do, that might not require the most power, but I'd enjoy that it required like a different element of parkour, like a technique or a fear base of like, because the only thing that's stopping you is how much you train it. But when you're not strong enough for something, it's like, oh yeah, you haven't done enough like squats or push-ups or like enough jumps in general, and there's no quick fix to not being strong enough. But if your technique's wrong, or if you're scared, you can kind of push through it in the moment, like right then and there, if you figure it out, or maybe have someone help you.
Yeah, man. And I noticed on that video where you're doing this disgraceful 360 running pre.
Yeah.
I know, because like I was watching it, and you did kind of, I think you did the running pre first. And I didn't understand what you were prepping for. Like, genuine, I was like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, what? and then you did it on the floor, and then I was like, oh my God, he's going for 360. So, talk us through, if you can. I know it's kind of tricky, but this is kind of what I'm really, really interested in. Talk us through your kind of, what goes through your mind when you're faced with a challenge like that, where obviously, I mean, there's death, like, literally on the cards. So how do you convince yourself, or what goes through your mind to kind of push through this? Because I know you say a few things to Abdullah when you're helping him with the side pre. But just go ahead. Tell us about that.
It's a bit different for the 360. That one at Barbican in particular, I like didn't find it scary at all. Like, it was. But it kind of touches on like the general idea of height for me isn't scary because it doesn't feel real. Like, it might sound a bit weird, but it's like the idea of falling, it doesn't feel like it's in like reality. Like, obviously I take it in as like it is a risk and it is there, but I won't let myself fall. I'll do everything in like my physical power to stop that happening, even if it got to that point. Like, so I just feel like it's not there. And once you remove that idea of knowing that you have enough belief in your way to land, your ability of like, even if something did go wrong and you slipped, I could still know I could control it somehow, and that I could bounce it, I could Kong to the side, I could always find a way with it. And the other thing with the Barbican one in particular is the wall's really wide, like super, super wide.
Yeah.
So I feel like and there's like a wall to the side, and there's not a depth drop to the right side as well, which is the way that my momentum is spinning with the 360 when I spun. So I spin to the left. So if I'm spinning, my chest when I land is coming to the right, which was the side that the depth drop wasn't on. That's why I picked to go that way rather than the other way. And if I jumped the way that Abdullah side flipped, it would be more dangerous because it's not the way that my 360 is going with the momentum. Kind of thing. Sure. I think about all those sorts of things, just like where the momentum's traveling, how I can redirect it if I need to, and yeah, obviously prepping on the floor as well is good. Just that's something I need to get in the habit of doing more, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Sometimes it's good to prep even if you feel like you don't need to, just to be safe. Just that extra, we like to call it data, or like
data. Nice.
Yeah.
Accumulating a bit more information.
My friend Ronnie in the team used to like, it'd say data, like data loading in the last video, like it's loading up, you got the fresh data on your mind.
Yeah, man. Cool. Yeah, I guess I can relate completely to the this idea of like not being in reality. I remember a friend of mine, David, and I were on this roof up in York, and we were literally just practicing a small standing pre to the very, very edge of a building, and there's like a death drop. And it was weird that we were like, all our aim was just to stick it and just be in control and just kind of get used to being in that feeling. But what was really weird is that we both had this real sense of like, well, it's just never ever going to happen. Even though there is a genuine possibility that like one of us could fall, it's really strange. Like, it does actually feel like the actual imagining of the slip, tumbling forward, falling down. Like it's almost like an alternate reality, isn't it? Even though
it's weird.
It's just so odd, but yet quite real as well.
Yeah, no, obviously very real, but I guess I've never heard of anybody that actually does parkour falling off a roof. Like, obviously there's in urbexes maybe, but not someone doing parkour, because I don't feel like we like take risks on that level of like we do, especially at height, things that are within our belief. I've had this idea of if I did slip off a building, the last thing I'd call out to everybody is like, I love you all. I love everyone on my team. I love everyone I train with or something. But like as I'm falling, just like, quick, let me shout the last word to everybody. But no, I agree with you. It doesn't feel like it's in an alternate reality of like if you chose to not take control of the situation, but you always do. Your body will always do it for you. It won't let you fall. Yeah,
it's almost like when we're training, like when you've got all your gear on, you got your shoes on, you're training with your boys or whatever, like you're almost in this space, you're in this kind of like collective parkour mindset almost, where it's almost like your own reality. Because then if you're just like having a normal day, so like, I feel different like if I'm wearing jeans and just normal clothes or something, and you feel a bit different. You're not in the parkour world, you're kind of in the muggle world, like you're not quite do you know what I mean? And it's just it's weird, isn't it, how we do all these things to get into a mindset that sort of protects us from kind of thinking too much like a muggle and thinking we're going to fall on everything. And it's weird, man. It's really interesting, though.
That's so good. I definitely love getting on the parkour mindset of just like wearing comfy clothes all the time, not really caring about all the holes in your shoes, and just like every day, who's training, where we training, like where we're going, arguing over spots.
Yeah, man. So do you how often do you train actually? Do you train like nearly every day? Or?
As much as I can. Like it's always if I'm not training, it's because I'm resting, and I think of it like I'm actively resting. Like I'm not just like resting for the sake of it. Like I'll I'll like lie in bed for a long time, but just to like heal my body, so the next day I'll be able to train, or I'll do nothing for a whole day, just to have a really big day the next day, or a day after, or something like that. But I do try to train a lot, but I can't, with my injuries, train every day, because it'd just be too much. And I think I train a bit too hard to train every day sometimes.
Yeah, I guess it's interesting, your kind of style of movement, because it looks like it's very technical and not always super high impact. So I guess you can kind of do it fairly, like in the video, I can't remember which one it is recently, where you're on those very low walls and you're practicing like 360s and side pre's and stuff.
Yeah,
it looks like you can kind of in some ways get away with training that more, because it's sort of like very flowy and technical and stuff.
Yeah, we do try to stick with the flow, especially like if someone gets injured. Right, at the moment Abdullah's injured, and he's been trying to learn how to do a 540 reverse, or like a 540 lazy, sorry. So you know when you do like a lazy vault on a wall, he wants to do like you spin 540 above the wall and then end it with a lazy. So you spin around the wall like twice and then lazy out on the when you come back around the side that you came in.
Sick. Nice.
But that's the sort of thing that is good to practice, especially when you're injured. Flow is always really important, and trying things that you might think is like looks stupid, or like looks like, oh, that's going to be silly, but just not caring about that aspect of it and just trying it anyway. That's how new moves get developed, and weird things come about, and movement gets more inspiring that way, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I think I was watching a Storror video recently, and I think they go to one of those spots that you guys were at, and they're like trying the stuff, and they mentioned Phat. They're like,
yeah. We were so happy about that.
Yeah, I bet. That's it.
Yeah. Actually, we were a little bit like, oh, you came Archway and didn't tell us you were training.
Okay.
Didn't tell us you were in London. It's all right though.
I think that I get the feeling Storror kind of maybe a little bit like that, just because not that they actively don't want to train with people, but just because they kind of have I guess they have a bit of a mission, don't they? Like they've got it's their job, like they're working so hard, you know.
I feel like they might want to film a video, but it wouldn't just be like, oh, come hang about. Like they'd want to actually like actively film a video together, like a planned thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Something. Maybe the future will hold more stuff like that.
We'll see. It'd be nice to see a Phat Storror collab, man. That'd be a nice video.
Yeah, of some kind.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The future holds a lot of wonders.
Yeah, but talking about those moves. Something that I was trying, kind of inspired by you guys and other people, is this kind of tic tac cat pass type thing. You guys are doing like,
tic tac cat pass.
Do you know what I mean? Like kind of 2 feet on the wall and then going into a Kong or cat pass.
Yeah. I think we've been calling it 180 dives or 180 dive Kongs.
180 dives.
Because it's like doing a 180 pre, like 2 feet on the wall, 180 cat back, but it's like doing it to a dive Kong instead. Which is new for me. Like I learned it like last month. I learned it just recently, and but it feels very natural. It's like it's 2 moves you've done like this whole time, and then they just weren't put together that often, because I don't know. It's just it's very scary when you first do it, and then you actually do it, and it feels very natural once you've overcome that kind of thing. How did you find doing it? Was it scary?
I'm finding it really scary. Well, to be honest, I've not. I'm going to make the excuse I've not found the best setup yet. But,
it is kind of hard. We're very blessed with the setups in London.
There's some cool setups there, man. It looks awesome. But the one that I was trying was actually, the setup is kind of like, it's a good distance, but I guess my problem is that the wall is very low. Like, sorry, the wall that you're 180 off is quite low. Like, it's only just above my height. Yeah. And so my friend Dean, shout out to Dean and Hector, They've done it from like a cat hang to 180 dive.
All right.
But
Yeah.
to do it like a nice kind of running 180, maybe I don't know. It's hard. The wall's not very high, so I'm very tall. I'm
Yeah.
I'm 6'2", so.
Yeah. Oh damn. Yeah.
But yeah, I want to try it, man. It looks. I think they're really interesting movements. So.
Yeah, and one thing about them is we've noticed that there's two ways to do it now. The Storror and us, like, we do it in different ways. I do it a little bit more like Storror. Orlando does it completely differently. Like he has two continuous steps on the wall that are treated like doing a 180 back, like you're doing it to a pre. Like it's just step, and it's continuous. But we noticed Max and Benj, when they were doing it in the last video, it would be like they do a half reverse up onto the wall, and then it's like they do a splat back off into the dive Kong. Like it's like a 2 foot solid plant on the wall. And I'm unsure which is more effective, but they both seem to work pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it, how these things kind of get thrown in the pot and then people just try it in different ways, you know, like.
Yeah, develop. It happened with the side flip pre years ago, like when Max Barker was bringing that to the table with rail pre's and shit.
It's mad, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Constantly developing. Yeah.
And is this where you kind of get your inspiration from with training? Do you kind of, because obviously there's different styles and you probably, well, actually I don't know, how long actually have you been training for?
I started when I was 13, so it's probably about between 7 or 8 years now.
Okay, yeah.
But with all the injury time, I'd probably say it's like maybe 6 of actually solidly training. Okay. But I'd say I've been around the scene for 8 years.
Nice. We'll get on to we'll get on to your injury stuff a bit later. But for now, tell me a bit about when you first started. When you first started, did you have like mentors? Did you have people that helped you? Were you coached or people?
Yeah, like, well, when I first ever like discovered parkour, I like just saw a PkGen class that was actually taught by Chris Keegley. I think you've had a podcast with him.
Oh yeah.
I think he might have been the first freerunner I ever saw in my life.
Damn.
And he might not even know, because I was really young. I was like 8 years old, and I saw him in this estate near my house and was like, oh my god, what are you guys doing? You're like jumping on trees and walls like a kid. But like, you know, I'm the kid and I'm intrigued by what you're doing. Yeah.
Sick.
And then when I was a bit older, like 13 or 11, I started going to classes, but I didn't like latch onto it. Like I was still this kind of like, I didn't learn a Kong, I wasn't learning, I was just kind of like messing about, that kind of stage where you're still like you're just going to it for the sake of it. And then when I was 13, I was like, I'm gonna hit this like full send. I really want to try and get good, see where it goes, and push on with that. And I did start with classes, and it was helpful. It's really good for the basics of like having some kind of soft mat just to learn without that sense of injury. But I jumped out of classes pretty quick when I found people that would be like, oh yeah, we know where like people are training. So
right, yeah, cool.
I remember being like 13, knowing like one person that went to my school, and I'd follow him. I didn't know how to use trains or anything, so I'd just follow him to like Watford or something, like take the overground and stuff, and then get there, and I'd just turn up to like a jam, and there'd be like 50, 60 odd people there, and there's all these sick like free runners, and I'm this little like chubby ute, and I'm just oh man. I remember being really shy, but it was a really great experience to come into, and it's like everything for me really. Like the center of life in my life.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy, man. So which classes did you say you were at? Were they PkGen as well, did you say?
Yeah, those are Parkour Generation ones. At the sports centre I live near, where Leap is. The parkour park, yeah.
Yeah.
And, and I also used to sneak into the parkour park before I was good at parkour. So I'd go there just to sit on the walls, and I'd hobble up one of the walls and like not, because I didn't train, but I knew about parkour for a long time, and until I finally like decided to give it the full effort.
So you must have seen some things then. So you went to these jams in like sort of
2013 kind of thing.
Yeah, you must have seen some cool stuff, man. That was a good time. It was a good time for parkour. And so who caught your eye when you were out? You know, you feeling a little bit like anxious, a little bit shy.
I was so anxious.
yeah. Who kind of caught your eye whilst you were there and people were training with, like, who?
I still train with him, but it's got to be Joe Marks all the way. I remember seeing him. He's one of the first. I think he was probably him, and I don't know if you know Greg Eckles.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, so those guys and a couple of others, those were the first good freerunners I ever saw in my life, and it was like stunning. Especially I remember seeing Greg Eckles do this running cat leap that was like unreal. Like even today, I don't think I'd see someone do a cat leap that big, because it was like big in distance and height, because he's a tall guy as well.
Yeah.
And it was like he just jumped and latched on with these like long arms, just like somehow like it was like proper Mission Impossible, like stunning to this little 13-year-old kid that couldn't believe his eyes. And then Joe Marks and his flips and flow and the kind of style that was brought, and it really enticed me. And there's a lot of other people I met, but I can't remember them too much. I remember always seeing it's gone. I can't remember. Joe Alvey. Do you know Joe Alvey?
Rings a bell. Maybe I probably recognise him.
He was in Brewman when Brewman was still kicking around a bit.
Okay, yeah.
But I always remember seeing him as well. He had this like interesting flow and like ability to flip out of like really technical, awkward movements. Like land like on the lowest wall and still manage to front flip no matter what.
Nice.
Yeah, it was cool days.
I remember Greg Eckles. He kind of, because he was Australian, right?
Yeah.
So he kind of blew up, didn't he? He was like, because I think maybe he just travelled loads, and he was around Europe, and he came to the UK and stuff. I remember seeing like This Is Sydney. I think that's a pretty big video from him.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's this guy in the red reach top, with these mad jumps. I think I actually when you mentioned that running arm jump, I think I have a vague memory of that, like him doing something huge.
Yeah.
That rings a bell. But yeah, I guess he's kind of gone off the scene now. I don't really see any training from him.
Yeah. I think he started to send a career in photography, and the training became less important, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to see him do some more jumps, because his style was really something to watch. It was so nice. Very bouncy guy, fun to watch.
For sure.
Yeah.
And so, how do you think you kind of started to feel more confident in parkour then? Do you think that, like, were there people that kind of helped you out, or was it more you kind of pushing yourself out your comfort zone a bit and just trying things, or what was it?
Yeah.
What was it like to kind of get out? Because I understand that feeling, and it's not too nice. So
yeah, I felt it for a long time, but I guess at the start I was so enticed by the whole idea of parkour and the whole community that I wanted that, but was just too scared to make like the kind of friends. And quite far throughout, I'd be meeting people that I'm like good friends with now that I like didn't know how. I just was too young to actually socialize properly for people to remember me too well. But yeah, I just kept pushing on. As I got better, it gets it gets easier to talk to people, because if you're actually like actively training more, when you're training, you just train. When you're at a jam, you don't kind of stand around so much.
Yeah.
But I don't really know what changed it for me. I think going to jams and all of that is what changed like being anxious for me in the first place. Like pushing myself through that and that bad feeling eventually just got better. But
you became more excited to go, I guess. You became more inspired, yeah.
And then you meet more people, and then people will remember you when you go to next jams, and you don't feel like you turn up and you don't know anybody. You see the people you know, and you go hang out with your crew, and then meet other people at the same time, and they introduce you to people that they know that you haven't met. And now it seems like the parkour community is just like so well connected. I can just speak to anyone in different countries. I can speak to I guess that's what changed, that now I feel connected to it all. But before, I felt like I was on the outer skirt, and it was just about warming into it and meeting more people.
Yeah, man.
Training more.
Yeah, people listening, if you're training in a big group and there's some little guy, he might become a bit of a problem later on. So make sure you welcome people in and introduce yourself and introduce other people, because these there's a guy in York that I met the other day who started training, which is, I mean, you probably won't know much about York, but it's a very small city, and there's like 5 of us that train. It's super small, but this young lad like came to come out, and I was kind of like, talking to him a little bit, and then I was like, oh, come on, you need to. I didn't want to show off, but I was like, I want to inspire him a little bit, so I kind of had a bit of a joke with him. And I did this like 180 cat and stuff, and he was like, whoa, that's cool, like that. He was just, his eyes lit up, and I was like, yes, like that could be. He needs to see stuff. Like, it's all well and good watching videos, but you need to see it in person and be like inspired, because that's basically the story of so many parkour people, like seeing stuff in real life and being like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's never the same on film as it is in real life when you really see it, especially like the craziest moves. That's really cool. It's good to inspire people, and like you said, that small kid on the side, I always try just like make for people, like people that are new, make them feel welcome. Or like at least like when you're training, the simplest thing could be like letting them go before you, because like in reality, just because your move's harder doesn't mean like you have any more right to be doing parkour than them. You shouldn't be like taking up all the spot. Give everyone a chance, let everyone have a go. Everyone, no matter what the level is, it's just as important to them at their level getting an achievement. And also if somebody that's like starting out like achieves something, it's like the hype should be the same, because it's to do with like the personal challenge that they had for that. And I always, if anything, someone that's like starting out, I'll be like furiously more excited and gassed that they stuck something perfectly. And then if someone that's been sick for like years and years does something, I'll be like, oh yeah, that was good. But I won't be like blowing my mind at it unless it's like something too crazy. But
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah, I think we have to, man. We have to. I think it can be far too easy, especially when you've been training for a long time. It can be far too easy to just, go to a jam and you kind of hang around with the people that you're, good friends with, or in your little group, and you kind of, there's other people there, and they're maybe not as good and maybe not as kind of experienced, but you have to make an effort, because you don't know where that can go. If you want parkour to survive, if you want the community to actually grow, you can't just sit there and be like, oh, there's no community, and then like not actually talk to people.
Find it.
Talk to people who are interested, in my view. But anyway, I wanted to ask. This is predominantly a coaching podcast, so I wanted to ask you a little bit more about your experience with coaching, because I believe you have done a bit of coaching, right?
Yeah. I used to be fairly involved with PkGen, but
Okay, yeah.
yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if I enjoyed it that much, but it was good. I learnt to coach, and I used to coach a lot. Like, I'd volunteer at where I like first was coached, and then I'd go coach there myself and coach like the kids that were basically me. But I found that I didn't like the general vibe of that class too much, because they weren't, no one was that passionate about it. It felt like, I hate parents that force their kids to go to parkour classes.
Oh man,
It's so like, it's like the stereotypical karate class, like, oh, you don't do exercise, so I'm going to force you to take up a club, and then they're like doing everything to like actively like ignore it and not take part. But on it, I remember I did coach for a little bit at this like gym in, not a parkour gym, just like a space, but we had equipment there, but it was in Victoria. And I remember that being a smaller class that I think it costed a bit more, but it meant that the people that came were like really wanted to come, because it was like more of like a small focused group kind of class, and I way preferred that element of teaching, other than having like a class of like 50 kids where you can't get into the ins and outs with each individual kid. It just has to be general for them. But when you have a small, like, you can talk about what parkour means, and you can talk about like really getting into like the detail techniques and movements, and spend time like really helping someone bits they're stuck with. Which is what I like wanted to do more with coaching.
Yeah, I think that's a great point about capacity. Like, I think it's all well and good, like wanting to get more people into parkour, and if there's the demand, like having big classes. But at the same time, like, if you're losing that individual focus, it can sort of dilute things a bit. And I'm thinking, I coach a lot, not at the moment because I'm on furlough, but I coach a lot as my kind of full-time job sort of thing. And I'm starting to think maybe more that I should maybe run more classes but with fewer people, just because how much value am I providing to a group of 20 kids? Maybe I could split it into two and have two groups of 10, and kind of be have a bit more individual attention with each person. So do you think that, you said you didn't really enjoy the vibe as much? Do you think that was because of these kids who weren't interested, or was it the style of coaching that you were kind of...
It's a bit of both. Like, because it was just such a big class, it was like trying to... Because they weren't there every day. They were only there on a Friday. So they wanted to just make it like a big class where they had a whole age range of like 8 years old to like 16 or 18 years old. Like, anybody could pretty much come.
Right.
And that meant that the groups were split up into like 6 or 5 different groups, and you'd have like it would split into ability, which is, for the beginning, I don't like that too much, of like you're categorizing people. I remember when I went to the class, when I got put in a group that was lower than what I was normally, and it upset me. It's like somebody choosing your parkour ability for you. So that's not, especially for kids, you don't want to like ingrain that kind of idea into them, that this kid's better than you and you're worse, so you're here and he's there. And I just think you should have, obviously, at an advanced level, where there's people that have been training for a certain amount of time, and there's people that are still getting into the beginnings and basics of training. But that's all it really is, the difference of getting your basics done so you can start kind of branching out from there, because that's all it is when you're learning, I think. Once you've got the basics, you're ready for it on your own, once you have all the basics down, because then you're exploring.
That's it, innit? That's it. I mean, This is what I think I talked about this a bit in my last podcast about. That's my aim as a coach. I want to try and get people to that point where they can explore on their own, because then it's just like they go off and they live their life. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then we can train together. That'd be sick.
Yeah, it's so good. I think that happened with I wasn't involved with it, but Phat did some coaching classes before Corona and everything. But
right, nice.
I remember one of our really close friends now came to the class as a student, and now he's just our friend, like good friend. And we just coach him for free because he's training with us. But yeah, that can tend to happen. Someone's too cool to be a customer. You need them to be like, nah, I need to just coach you. I need you around all the time, man.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Yeah, cool. Well, yeah, that's interesting. Do you think you'll? I know, obviously, you're very into your training at the moment. Do you think that when it's more possible, do you think you'll try coaching again, or is it something that you?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, definitely. Because Phat want to do coaching classes, but we're just waiting for Corona. Really, because and I think I think we want to get some kind of liability thing more in place, get some insurance of some kind.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm very up for it. I've done coaching in the past, and it's been a long time, but I want to get back in the rhythm of it. I guess there's general coaching with people, but I love kind of like seeing people unlock things for the first time again. It's fun.
Yeah.
Because you can't relive that, but you can relive that with somebody else, I guess. You bring that for a new person.
Very true, man. Very true. Yeah, absolutely. That's the sort of the joy that it's like the little sparkle of parkour, isn't it? Like doing stuff for the first time.
Your first Kong, or first time you stuck something, and you're like, wow.
Yeah. That's cool, man.
The mystery.
Yeah, for sure. It'd be really. Yeah, I'd be really interested to see you guys developing classes. That'd be really interesting. I'd love to see your style. I think I get like I watch your videos and I get I think sort of Kieran, Jimmy the Giant, sort of said it in one of his videos as well. Like I get a very, very positive vibe from your group. A very kind of it seems very authentic and very uplifting. Do you think this is just the sort of personalities that are within the group, or do you think it's like a kind of what's the word? Do you think you focus on being positive? Because I know your mantra is like speed, power, belief, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I just watch your videos and you're very kind of supportive and positive in the language that you're talking with each other in and everything. And is this something that's just normal now, or is it kind of something you focus on?
I think in general everyone in the team is like always trying to be as motivated as possible. It's about motivating each other. Like another mantra would be like champion movements, or trying to be champions. Like
nice.
Everyone's the champion, we're all champions, we're all trying to be the best we can be for each other and ourselves, and it's good. And I think that's generally the vibe that we're trying to live our lives with, just positivity, optimism. It's like thinking it's going to go okay when it might seem like it's not going to go okay, but believing that it will. Not just in parkour, but like aspects of like life. Like we try view life like parkour. Like if you run into an issue, it's like an obstacle, just like a wall. That's just another obstacle that you have the power to overcome. You just have to have the belief, and then you'll be able to do it, kind of thing. And obviously we're not always positive. Like we all go through our own troubles, but it's about trying to push in that direction. The aim is always positivity, even if you're having a bad day. You still want to be positive. And I think that comes out in the videos, because we want people to be very optimistic and positive about things, and motivated is the biggest thing. With training, it's just getting out, really. like as much as possible, and then it will come naturally.
Yeah.
The love will bring the movement.
Nice. I like that. And tell if you can. This is kind of tricky, but try. You mentioned the word sort of believing quite a lot. What does that mean to you? Can you go deeper into that? Like,
it in what sense? Like in actual doing parkour, or just in life believing?
I guess so, because belief is something, you can associate belief with religion, you can associate belief with self-belief, but some people, I personally, I like the word. I think it's really valid in parkour, like using the word belief, because there has to be a sort of sense of self-trust and a self-motivation, a self-belief. But yeah, like, does this word kind of, do you feel it quite strongly then, like that it's something?
Yeah, I do. I think in life in general the word belief's good, because if you're like hoping for something to go well or whatever it is, if you have belief in it, it's only going to better the chances of it going well. Your mind's going to be in the right place for whatever it is you're trying, and if it doesn't work, I've had times where I've had a really bad day training, and I'll be like, oh, I'm not going to land this, it's going to be crap, like I'm going to do a crap jump, watch this crap jump or something, and then I might get injured or something, or if you have that doubt, it's just not going to go well. You might as well not even try it, because you're putting it yourself against yourself in that sense. You need to, if you have belief, it's only going to better the chances of things going well in parkour and out of parkour. Belief is just the correct direction to have with things. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess when you start to doubt yourself, those thoughts, maybe without you realizing, trickle into your like subtle behaviors. Do you get what I mean? Like thinking, oh, I'm not going to do this. Maybe that thought itself starts to like change your heart rate, or change like your muscular tension or something. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
maybe belief and having a positive kind of reinforced voice in your mind is maybe a way to actually align yourself with like optimal muscular activity and calmness, and your nervous system's not like jacked on like stress.
Yeah.
So it's in. I find it's something I'm kind of researching more. Like, I find it so interesting. Yeah, how simple thought patterns might actually just, well, can and do change your body and how it works and how it wants to move.
I think parkour has always been 80% mind, 20% physical.
That's strong. That's strong. 80%. That's strong.
Yeah, because it's so much in the mind. It's like in that split second, the doubt or the belief that you have will completely change the way that the jump goes. Completely not related to your actual ability to do it. It's all in the mind, I think, really. When it comes to it, it's just taming it is how you can progress quite well. Everyone tames it in a different way because everyone's got a different mind. But I definitely agree with you that the belief system's really important for like actually going for a movement in parkour. So what depends all of it. I always say if you can't imagine yourself doing it, like if you can't have a vivid image of like, oh, I'm picturing myself landing this. If you can't actually imagine it, then it's not, I don't know if it will happen, you got to imagine it. You got to see yourself doing it to make it a reality kind of thing.
Yeah, I really like that moment in one of the recent Phat videos where you're on a high ledge and there's a pretty big drop, and you do the 360 like drop pre.
Oh yeah, Liverpool Street.
Yeah, and it's kind of you can sort of see it in your, like, because I think Abdullah says like, oh no, you're not going to do it or something, and then you kind of go a bit quiet, and then you just do it, and it's like it's interesting as well how when you look at someone, they have a slight, there's like a look like you know they can and are going to do it. You know?
I love the parkour look so much. I love it. There's like, it's just, you see it in the feet and the legs. It's like they're stood with their back against the wall. They're about to run up to the scary Kong or the scary thing, and their feet shuffle, and then there's that second where like they take that one more step back, and it's like boom, it's happened. You see it in their eyes. It's like, it's going into the Zen state of Ben just Storror has talked about it in Roof Culture, just the air time, that moment of like there's nothing else in anywhere else in your mind or in that second but doing that jump.
Sick. Yeah, I agree completely, and it was so cool to see that. Oh man, that's horrible, that 360 down.
Yeah.
What the hell? Anyway.
That one was definitely harsh. So the drop is my spin way.
God.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're cracking on. We're gonna move on now to some. I actually asked on Instagram for some questions.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is the first time on Parkour Coach Companion. I thought, do you know what? I come up with questions every time. Let's get the audience to get some questions.
Yeah,
so I'm just gonna quickly grab them now. And thank you for anyone that has sent some questions to Devon. Let's see what they are. Okay, so I got one that says, is it true that scientists now use the reliability of Devon's 360 pre as a model to predict wind pattern? And that comes.
Yes, common scientist knowledge.
That comes from PkGen.
PkGen, yeah.
Yeah. That's funny.
Oh, lovely stuff.
I've got a few actually. So yeah, one of the first ones was from It's Balint, who says, "How do you commit to things so easily?"
Oh, hi, it's Balint. I know Balint.
Oh, Balint. Sorry, Balint.
Yeah.
We kind of covered that, haven't we?
Yeah, what goes through my head when I do a 360? Or...
No, he just said, how do you commit to things so easily?
Oh, commit to things. Oh, yeah, I didn't touch on this fully, but the whole commitment thing for me is about, I hate being scared so much. I hate the feeling, I hate everything about it, and I always did, and that's all I'm trying to do by commit quickly, is get the fear away. Like, if you just do it, then it's like that like kind of space of like, you've done the first, even if you don't make it, as long as you control it and don't get hurt, the first commit is like the barrier that saves you. Like, once you've already done it, you know how it feels, and then you're like, oh, I'm not scared anymore. And that's, for me, if it's not in the first minute, I start getting really anxious about the jump if I don't do it straight away. It's kind of always been that for me. I've even said things before like, if you don't do the first commit to a jump in like the first 2, maybe 3 minutes, it's looking like a no-go, because then it's getting to a more dangerous area, a gray zone of if you leave it too long, you're like not as warmed up, your hands are getting sweaty, you're getting in your head, you're just thinking about it too much. And then when you do send it, you might have waited so long that you're doing it out of a reason of like, oh, I need to do this, or, you know, it's at this point the best thing to do is just leave it. If you haven't if you don't feel like you could just do it, you know? There's obviously things that are good to come back to, but there's always eventually a time where something feels like you can do it straight away. And it's nice when you do it straight away, I think.
Absolutely. It's almost like you're racing your brain to do it, you know?
Yeah, I'm fighting with it, but I'm taming it as quickly as possible.
Yes. Yeah. That's cool. Okay, so thanks for that. Thanks for that question. We've got we've got 3 questions from Shamila Photography. I don't know this person, but thank you, Shamila. These could be quite long, so maybe answer them as briefly as you can.
Okay.
So the first one was, everyone shows the experienced parkour moves they do, but how did you start out doing parkour? We kind of covered that, haven't we?
I feel like that. Yeah, just the old jams and being a young chubby kid. Or maybe more than chubby.
But yeah, I guess you were saying about going to jams and kind of slowly getting involved and stuff like that. And I guess just taking things step by step, really.
Yeah, I guess for flips, I went gym. I'd always recommend going to a gym to learn flips, like a soft gymnastics place. That's how I learned. I mean, I could mention it took me a year to learn side flips. It took me a whole year before I landed at a single one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I've been training over a decade, and there's far too many flips I can't do.
Fair enough.
She's got 2 more questions. So one of them we've already answered, kind of thing. How often do you train?
Alright, yeah.
So you said you train as much as you can. Most days, you sort of said. And then here's the last one. So she said, do you have to do a lot of conditioning and stretching to maintain your body?
Oh, yeah, very good question. I try to stretch every day, straight up, just every day before bed or when I can. Just because of my injuries that I've had, like my body will just seize up if it feels like I need to maintain flexibility, especially like stretching's so important for injury reduction. If you have like flexible ankles, flexible knees, flexible hamstrings, it's like, say you have your muscle and say you like ankle thing and your if everything's tight, you're going to get this kind of resistance that can cause breaks and pulls, like pulled muscles and overextension and things like that. But if you're loose and you happen to ankle thing or your knee bends in a weird way, you're not going to get a snapping tension. It's going to bend with the flow of, like, I've seen it with do you know Mark Ashigaru?
Yeah.
I've seen he had a bail where he did a side flip pre and missed one of his legs. It was his back leg, and his knee like landed on the wall and bent like in on itself in a weird way.
I've seen it.
But then he stood up and he was fine, and he said like he kept like he wasn't injured from it, and he was like, that's why you should always stretch. And I was thinking like, damn, that's one flexible knee. I want a knee that flexible. I don't want to get injured.
Yeah. So
I definitely recommend stretching.
Do you follow a routine?
Come back to the question. Yeah, just a general kind of static moving, involves a bit of yoga, a bit of downwards dog kind of thing, like stretching out the back, things like that's always good. Then I have a couple of specific ones that I've had from physios that are like for specific places I've injured, like my shoulder and my neck and things like that. And come back to the question, I don't condition strength as much as I should, but there's this general idea of kind of doing it sometimes. Like, I want to get into doing more of it, but it's not essential because you can get very strong from just doing parkour, but you can also use parkour to make yourself stronger. Sometimes we might just do like reps of climb ups kind of thing, like over and over again, to get better at climb ups in general and also get stronger. And the answer is we should do more conditioning and always stretch. Yeah.
Okay. And I guess there's one last question. which kind of is something I wanted to ask you about anyway. So this is from Olmok.
Oh,
okay.
A friend.
Good.
Yeah.
Olmok says, how does serious injuries like your neck affect your personal relationship with parkour?
Oh, that's a deep question.
Okay, yeah.
We never spoke about my neck actually. We skipped that one, I think.
Well, I was kind of it's in my head, and I kind of wanted to ask
briefly
you
mention
at some
it.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, man. I'm very interested, so go for it.
I can answer that question with this question, but when did it happen? It happened in June 2018, I think, or man, yeah, my head's so foggy. It happened such a long time ago, but I pretty much broke my neck in a trampoline park in Scotland, in Inverness, very, very top of Scotland. I was on a holiday with my friends, so I wasn't even with people that did parkour like that much. Like, they could do a couple of flips, but they weren't like my parkour friends. And we kind of just went there like to just kind of have a fun day. And then I got trapped by the ego, and like, fuck, never act upon ego ever. It's such a bad idea, and I've learnt that since that day. But I thought it was a good idea to try a 360 back fall into like a back out when you do like a double backflip, but the first ones, and I just did it. It was such a bad setup. Like, I shouldn't have gone for it. The foam pit wasn't adequate enough. The trampolines were like low budget quality, like crappy, like not Olympic. They were just that like crappy, like slacky trampoline shit. So yeah, just and then I like obviously untucked, landed so badly. Like, I don't think I could have. It's like the luckiest landing of. I fractured my neck, but I didn't, like, I could have been like. There's like the neck break was probably pretty good for in terms of breaking your neck. I didn't get paralyzed. I didn't actually break it. I fractured it, so it's still together. It was just cracked, kind of thing. But yeah, it was unlucky, but it was lucky that I guess I came back from it, I suppose. But yeah, I fractured in between the C6 and C7. The big bump that you have on the back of your neck that connects your neck and back into play.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, I went through a year and a bit, or a bit less maybe, of resting, not doing anything, getting quite depressed, and like not having a good time. But I don't know, it developed everything for me now that I'm training better than I used to train before the injury, and it just opened my mind up to really also appreciating just everything, being able to have a good night's sleep, sitting on the sofa and feeling comfortable again, and being able to go for a run or a cycle or a swim, or just all these little things that it made me appreciate things more. And sometimes I lose sight of it, but I should keep that idea of appreciation for getting through it and that sort of thing. And maybe to come back to that question, would you mind repeating it if you still have it?
Yeah.
I can't quite remember.
Yeah. So he said, so how does your neck injury affect your personal relationship with parkour?
At the start, it was quite negative, because it was this idea of like, oh, will I ever be back to where I was? Have I like missed my like chance to be like good, like really good at parkour? Like, will this hold me back for a long time? And being stuck in that. But then now I feel like the relationship I have with it's kind of like it's there, but it I think it keeps me like motivated to keep going. It's yeah, it's still there, but it doesn't hold me back anymore.
Good.
So much.
That's good.
But I can still feel it every movement I do when I'm training.
Really?
It's kind of there. Yeah, like if I like move my head back, it will crack, kind of thing. and it definitely feels different because I had surgery and there's a bar in there permanently in my neck.
Yeah.
So every jump I do, there's some like thing in my neck.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's an interesting story, I guess, to tell people. I did that thing that like that granny that's kicking you off a spot will always be like, don't break your neck.
Yeah.
I know you're gonna break your neck, and then oh my god, I did actually break my neck.
Well, I noticed that's what your video compilation on Instagram was called, right?
Yeah. Careful you don't break your neck or something. That video compilation meant a lot to me actually, because I only started training again at the start January 2020. So I wasn't training really until then. So everything in that video was everything that brought me back from my injury, which meant a lot to me. I even remember at the start of 2020, I was thinking, this is the year where I like have this comeback. I know it, like this is it, because I've been waiting like a long time for this. And yeah, Corona didn't even like this year, like everyone was like, oh, 2020 sucked, and I was like, nah, that's my comeback year. That's like when I make the return and I can actually train again and properly and
back in the ring.
It's good fun. Yeah. Tag back in.
Yeah. Good. Well, I think on that note, man, I think we'll end it there. That was that was a lovely talk, man. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for coming on.
That's all right. That's all right.
Make sure, listeners, please go and check out Devon's stuff. He released a really banging compilation, which we just mentioned. Don't break your neck. Is it on YouTube or just IGTV?
Nah, just on my Instagram, devon.phat. But I'd definitely say go check out Phat in general, spelt with a PH.
Yeah.
Our YouTube, we're trying to upload weekly. Sometimes we're a bit rubbish at it, but we're trying our best. And we try and upload on Instagram every day. And I think we have a TikTok now.
Oh yeah, TikTok. Yeah, TikTok famous.
Yeah, we thought it would be fun because we've started messing about with the reels and music and that.
Yeah.
I think music is great with parkour. It really adds an extra element. I love it.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings on that, but I would probably spend far too long talking about that. But just to add on to that, the music you used was very good actually for your compilation. And
thank you.
I'm going to try not to go into this, but yeah, I think for me, music and parkour is like, when I see a parkour video, it's like 60-40. I think the music is 60. I think I don't know, it's hard to explain, but the classics, like on this podcast, every intro that I use is going to be from a classic, like the beat is going to come from a classic parkour video.
Yeah.
And then people have to try and figure out what video it's from, like a classic parkour video.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
But I think that genuinely part of what makes a parkour video a classic is the music. Like think of Long Hair Big Chief. Straight away you can hear the music. You know? Like,
yeah.
And it's just, I think that's where videos really elevate themselves. So, yeah, listeners, if you recognise the beat from this video, I'm being a bit meta here because this hasn't happened yet, but if you recognise the beat from the start of this podcast, then let me know, give me a message, and I will shout you out in the next podcast. You'll be the winner. So yeah, I'm just gonna switch. Awesome. I'm just gonna switch it up every podcast and see if it can. Bring that sort of nostalgia.
Someone will bring it, yeah. That's awesome. I'm interested to hear your opinion on like reels, like music in the general Instagram post. Could tell you've got quite controversial opinions.
Go on then. Go on then. Whilst we're here, we might as well. So, for me, okay, I'm a massive music head. Yeah, so music and parkour are like two of my big loves in life generally. And for me, I will only use a piece of music for parkour that the parkour has to be good enough, or the filming, or the whatever, the direction of whatever it is. It has to fulfill the music, because for me, if I'm going to use someone's music, someone's art, someone's like piece of work, I have to match it. Yeah, I have to give something that gels and that flows with it. And this is why some of the best videos of all time have had this perfect like unison, you know. They've managed to match the vibe of the movement, match the vibe of the filming with the music. What pisses me off about about like Instagram reels and TikTok stuff is that it's diluting music, man. Like people people slap on any old thing to like a 10-second clip. And yeah, okay, if you're listening, you do it. I understand why you're doing it. Yeah, we all understand why you're doing it. You're playing the game. But like, listening to like fucking, what is it?
Like the one that's like, get it down in the deep.
Yeah, literally.
Shit like that. I could not agree more that
fuck that.
Not to negatively shout them out, but people like Pasha and Eric, and they're fucking, god damn, it's just like, how uncool do you want to make parkour look? It's so lame, I think, sometimes when we're just all using the same music. Man. I think there is a potential for reels, but you gotta actually kind of care about it a little bit. I think every song I play, I like genuinely care about it and think about how the pace goes with the flow of the video. Like we'll use like a lot, always rap usually, but just something that will kind of drop in at the right time with the main aspect of the movement, or it will just kind of has to add to it. It can't, like you said, it just diminishes it. It can't diminish music. It has to, they have to bring each other up, sort of thing.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. I just, as I said, I get it. I know why people are doing it.
Play the game.
But fuck me, there's so much good music out there. Like there's so much, and like I don't know. I just think you need to if you like a piece of art, you need to pay respect somehow. You can't you can't just fucking slap it on anything, you know. So that I don't know. I mean, people can do what they want, but I just think that music becomes a quickly forgotten trend, you know. Like these actual pieces of music, which might be good or they might be shit, they become lost. They don't have any longevity because they're just, you know. They come and go and everyone uses them and then just throws them away. Whereas if you actually if you use something interesting and different and that suits the vibe, like your video with the compilation.
I try and use something that I like, music that you wouldn't think would go with a parkour video. You wouldn't expect to be good or something like that.
Yeah, but it works because it's that kind of like. Is it kind of like it's like an instrumental, isn't it? Like a sort of.
Yeah, it's like a kind of guitar-y, fairly peaceful track that has a bit like. The main reason I used it is I wanted something that was long track, that it was like a 6-7 minute long song, and it just had this constant flow and progression to it. It didn't break up, it just kept going, kind of like the way parkour is. It just flows and continuous. And it did, and I was super into the song at the time as well, so it made me happy to use it.
I think there's like songs that I've been wanting to use in a video for like years that I'm still kind of kind of there, and man, the feeling when you actually put it out eventually is just it's so great. It's so cool. Anyway, we
Off track.
we went into it. That was pretty funny, actually. So yeah, all the links for Devon's stuff. If you're listening on Spotify, they'll be above you. Have a look there. And if you're on YouTube, have a look in the description. It'll be there. So go and check out his stuff. Go and check out Phat. If you're listening on Spotify, you can let this one play out and roll on to the next episode, the last episode even, which was with Olive, aka Yoga with Olive. And we had a really interesting chat about yoga and mobility and breath work and coaching online and stuff like that. So a bit of a different episode, but it was really interesting listening to her perspective on these things and how they can apply to longevity and parkour, and it was great. It was really good. So yeah, I guess we'll stop there. But that was it was great chatting, man. And I look forward to man. I say it in every episode, but like fuck, I'm gonna go on a big trip and come and meet everyone that I've
come meet the people.
Yeah, literally. Like I'm so excited that even though we can't meet each other, we can still like meet each other, like doing this. And
yeah, it's awesome. Thanks for having me. Thank you so much. I'm honoured. And it's been awesome to have a chat, and it would be great to come train with you sometime when this weird world becomes less weird.
I know, man. Well, yeah, you guys are always welcome up north, and it would be very interesting to see what you guys would do up north as well.
Yeah,
plenty of things to destroy and be creative with. So yeah, that'd be cool, man. But
yeah.
From me, thank you very much for listening, guys, and thank you, Devon.
Thank you. Yeah. See ya.
See you later.